blessing tonight. You're a special guest, and these altars is always open. So if you got business to do with the Lord, just come ahead and do it. And everything will be all right. You won't disturb nobody. But if we get in our prayer requests, remember me and my family, my children, grandchildren, something's always on the rise somewhere for somebody. There's a lot of sickness. I've got a brother that's got the COVID. His wife's got it too. He's going to be having surgery the 11th on his knee. And Gary Moreland said he's going to have his knee replacement the 13th. So remember these in prayer. If you got a prayer request, raise your hand and we'll address it. Go ahead, Nancy.
Me and my family.
All right. Go ahead, Aiden. So you want to pray about school starting back. Remember these children as they going back to school. Go ahead, Mark. All right, let's remember this family, 30-year-old man. Ben?
Yes, sir. I'd like to pray for my family, my wife and kids, and my forgiveness.
All right, let's remember this.
Stanley, remember Casey's uncle, Wes Thompson. He wound up in the hospital with pneumonia and now has bacterial infection, so he's pretty sick.
All right, let's remember Casey's uncle. Go ahead. Yeah. All right, Brother Tim. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, let's remember these sick. Go ahead, Jay. All right, let's remember this. We got any more prayer requests? Go ahead, Dar. Okay, pray for his dad. Go ahead. All right, yes, remember this, remember our youth. Got any more? I thought I seen another hand up back there somewhere. All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Once again, our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for today. Thank you for the word you brought to us this morning, Lord, and the messenger. And Lord, remember our youth as they go back to school this week. Keep a hedge protection around them. Keep a hedge protection around this church this year, Lord. Bless each and every one that's here today, the ones that came back tonight, Lord. Remember each and every one of these prayer requests. I know that there's some that wasn't mentioned, but you know each and every one. And once again, Lord, be with these here at this church that's on our pastor search committee. Deal with them, Lord, in your way, that we know that you've got someone out there for this church. Clean this church, Lord, that it be your will that we'd get the man that you'd want us to have. And if we're a stumbling block, get our hearts cleaned up, Lord, that we wouldn't be a stumbling block for a man of God to come in this church and to preach and to share your word with us. Lord, be with us the rest of the service tonight, Lord. Be with us on service. And once again, Lord, we're going to ask all these things in your holy and precious name. Amen. Come on up, let's sing.
if you would, please go ahead and stand up, take the church hymnal, and turn to page number 212. Help us sing page 212. 212. Verse 2. While they do that, welcome everybody around. Help us out on the next one, page number 305. 305. 243, page 243. 243.
Amen.
133, page 133. 133.
Good evening. Glad to see you out tonight. I know we got a chance of some light stuff coming in the morning. I know there might be some that are afraid to get out. Aiden, you're already out of school tomorrow. You ain't gotta pray for snow. but no, it's I'm glad y'all are out tonight, and we here in a little bit we're going to have the young people come that went on the trip and share a little bit about the trip. And so you just pray for them as they come. But a couple announcements. We will be starting our Awana back next Sunday night at 5 o'clock. So just keep that in mind as the kids go back to school this Wednesday. We'll be starting back with our second half of our Awana year next Sunday night at 5. Also, January 27th, the Titus II Ladies Ministry will be feeding the homeless. And you can see Miss Debbie Ellis for that, for any more details about that. And then we also have our Youth Sunday coming up the last Sunday this month, January 30th. So just continue to pray about that and these young people, which y'all probably heard enough of me preaching for a while. I might have to find somebody to come in and do our Youth Sunday just to give y'all a break. And then some prayer requests. Continue to remember our Pastor Search Committee. That would be Brother Darrell Bottoms, Phyllis Harris, Jason Hooker, Steve Kaiser, and Gary Wingo. As they continue to kind of wade through all this, and it's something new to this church, but that God would lead, guide, and direct them, and that we need to be supportive of them and praying for them daily. And then continue. I know there's so many prayer requests. We heard of everybody's got stuff going on in your family, and Sammy was so good. He didn't miss hardly anybody. And I can't even start naming people because I just feel I leave people out. And so I'm not even going to try to name people, but just remember each other. And know that you got a church family here. When you got stuff going on in your life, you got people you can lean on, people you can call. You can send out a text, get on the prayer chain and get it sent out. And there's people, I promise you, there's people when they get that text, they start praying right then. And church, we're in this together. We're all on the same team. And we need to lift each other up. And I thank you for that. We've seen it in this church. We've seen prayers answered in this church multiple times. And so it's an awesome thing. But I just can't name one without trying to name them all. And I'm horrible at it. I ain't going to try to hide. I'm telling you, I'm bad, really bad at it. But just remember each other. And I know the prayer calendar's got out. Remember your prayer calendar and those days, and that's important. It works. And it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. We're going to stay focused on the Lord, and we're going to see God do some stuff in this church. And it's going to be a great year. And you should just pray about that. But we'll go ahead and get our guys to come tonight. We're going to receive our evening offering and give you a chance to give back to the Lord. If you would, stand with me. And have we got a special? Oh, Melissa, you're special again.
Sorry.
You've been a special a lot lately.
Yep. Some of y'all need to learn how to sing.
All right, let's bow our heads and have a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I just want to thank you. God, for these people that's seen fit to come out this way tonight, God. And God, I know tonight's a different service. It's not normal. But God, you can still be glorified. You can still be uplifted. And God, we just pray, Lord, that you just come and visit with us for a while, God, in this service. God, I pray for these young people that were allowed to go on this trip, God. I pray that this trip was not just fun, but God, it was spiritually medicine to their soul, God, to help them grow closer to you and closer to each other as a church, a youth group. God, I pray, Lord, that you continue to work with our youth and continue to grow them. God, I pray for this church as we look for a pastor. God, I pray, God, wherever that man is, whatever he's doing right now, God, you begin to work on his heart. You start drawing him and giving him a longing for this church and this people. God, I pray, Lord, that you just bring him to us, God, that you would make him to where we can find him, God. And And God, that when we find him, there's no doubt in our mind this is God's man for our church. And God, when that happens, God, I just pray, God, that you would once again, as you've done it and you've never stopped doing it, continue to work in this church. And God, I pray, dear Lord, now as we gather this money and this tithes, God, that you would just take them and multiply them and use them. And God, that our church would be responsible for the gifts that come in. God, we're just going to be careful to give you the praise, honor, and glory for all that we see happen here. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Soon I shall hear the call.
trip. If you're here tonight, come on up. I'll just go ahead and tell you, we're missing some. Not everybody that went on the trip is here tonight, but hopefully they'll share a little bit.
I'll go ahead and get us started here. Before we mention anything about the trip, I just want to thank Melissa for stepping up the way she's playing that piano. Boy, she's doing a great job. I thought this morning, I said, man, she's doing a great job on that piano. So I want to thank her. She didn't have to step up and play the piano, but I want to thank her for, because it sounds a lot better with a piano than a bunch of them up here without no music. So, but keep praying for our church, and that the Lord is sending a pastor. And I know he's got one coming. So, like Nathan said, we in all this together. We're going to work together. But if you see something that needs to be that's vacant in the church, we're going to have to stand up. As deacons, we got to stand up. Like I said, we never did have to check on much of our family, because time we go check on our families, Sammy's done been there. But now, I know a lot of people has missed that, and I know that we're not a Sammy. I didn't know how he done it still. But we try our best to keep up with our families. I know as a deacon I failed keeping up with the families, but I do. But we got to step up, take care of our church family. But anyway, thank you, Melissa. You do a great job. But I'm going to get us started on this trip before I forget what I'm supposed to say. So that's why I got to go first anymore. But I think we've been doing this for about 26 years. We started taking the youth, and when we started, they wasn't, I think, 5 or 6 or 7. And we have had up to counting adults and all around 40. So you never know how many's going, how many's, until you leave. And you still don't know until you get there and count about 9 times, and you still don't know. So we try to bring back all that we take. But it is a great trip. A person would never know what this trip means, not to the youth, but to all the adults that gets to go. Last year was the first year that I missed in the 20-something years. I was just getting out of the hospital, trying to get over COVID, and I hate that I missed it. But there wasn't no way to go, and I didn't know if I was going to go this year. And I said, I'm going to go. I didn't want to go and just be in the way. I like to, when I go, I always like to pull my own load. Because they are a lot to do, cooking and, but we got so many others that stepped up, Nathan, Jason, and all of our college kids that goes, Justin. So I want to thank them for stepping up, because it's going to get to a time me and Mousy probably won't be able to go. And it's something that I pray that keeps it going, because it's just unreal, the devotions that we have. The youth does, the 2 ladies done a devotion, and the 2 guys done a devotion. Then Nathan and Jason. One night we split them with the guys and the girls and let us have our own devotion. But we had a great trip. Stayed somewhere we never stayed before, but It was a very nice place, had plenty of room. We always stay in Pigeon Forge, but we ended up in Gatlinburg because me and Mousy tried to find rooms even last year. And then this year we started early, but they've got so crazy. You know, when we first started, we could get us a cabin and going for 20-something hundred. And then it's 3 or 4. Then places where we used to stay, it wasn't nothing. When we checked on it, they asked us 9,500 up to 12,500. And I thought, 12,500? I thought, we're going to have to regroup. But anyway, I don't even know what Jason or somebody's found this, and when it was a nice place, and I know the church spends a lot of money, but we've been blessed, and it's the best money you can invest in these kids. And it might get one day we ain't able to send them, but we can do something else. I mean, I thought, well, we can't never send. We always throw tents at the house and camp out, you know. But I think they like the cabin better. But we had a great time. We always, we just get closer to the kids and the youth, you know, year after year. I try to keep connection as I was, you know, getting older and older. And since I didn't go last year, I said, Lord, I feel like I'm losing connection with our youth. And the youth really what keeps me going. But I said, Lord, if you don't have that communication and fellowship, you lose connection with anybody. As the Lord started, you know, I told the Lord, I said, any way possible, let us go this year because I'm losing connection with them. And he started dealing with me. He said, John, if you don't communicate with me and spend time with me, you lose connection too. So if I didn't learn nothing else, if you don't communicate, talk to them, you lose connection. So that goes the same way with the Lord. If we get where we don't fellowship with the Lord and talk to him, we seem to lose connection. I ain't going to lose my salvation. I'm just as good in heaven right now as I will be 40, 50 years. But we got to have that fellowship. That's the same way with the kids and our older ones here. I mean, we got to have the fellowship in church. You lose the fellowship, you lose the connection. So I think this next year that's coming up, we got to keep that connection. Because if we don't, I mean, but anyway, I had a great time. We always play a cornhole tournament. If you don't know what cornhole tournament is, it's just a game. You throw bags and land them somewhere on the other end. Supposed to land them on the board, but some of them's over here and some of them's there. And I've always been pretty competitive. But this year, the tournament, the rain got us. But I got in the cabin, and I thought, Lord, why didn't you let that rain come about 7 minutes early? Because before the rain come, Kaylee Parker put me out of the tournament. And I'm not used to being put out of the tournament that early. But she got 3 in the hole and 1 on the board. And I thought if that rain would come 7 minutes early, because I didn't get back to the cabin, it seemed like it started pouring down rain. Then that way I wouldn't have this defeat that's really bothering me. But we did have a great time, and I want to thank the church for allowing us to go. Like I said, I think it gets more expensive. But any way possible, we're going to try to keep it going. But I want to thank you, then we're going to let these others talk. But I was thankful that we did get to go. And the youth that didn't get to go, we really missed them. We did have a great time. Thank you.
It's been about probably about 4 years since I got to go, so it was good to finally get to go and hang out with everybody in fellowship. We had a lot of fun. I like to stay up a little bit late. When we get a little bit older, it's hard to stay up late. I drink about 7 Mountain Dews to hang with all of them. They was all, crazy with energy and everything, but the devotions were really good, and it was just awesome to get to go and hang out with everybody. And I do need to work on my cornhole status. I'm kind of need to work my arms out or something. They wore me out in cornhole, but it was a lot of fun. Thank y'all.
I'd like to thank the church for letting us be able to go, and thanks for the prayers, for the devotion. I think it was pretty good, but I don't know. It's pretty good. And thank you for letting us go. Had a good time. That's it.
So me and Michael had to do the devotion, and like he said, he thinks it went pretty good. So I think it went pretty good too, because I was also pretty nervous about it. But I just want to thank the church for praying for us and everybody else who did the devotion, and just thanks for letting us get to go. And yeah, thanks everybody.
I actually kind of prepared for this. So this is my 6th year going on this trip, and I'm so thankful for this youth group and this church. I've grown up in this youth group, and I've grown up in this church, and there's never a moment where I don't feel welcomed and loved. This trip gave us many opportunities to grow closer as friends, as a family, and most importantly, grow in our faith with Jesus. I not only thank the church for this trip, but for the adults that pour their heart and souls into this to make us feel loved and give us a safe place where we can open up. So thank you for allowing us to go on this trip.
Hello. So I just want to thank the church for letting us go. This is definitely one of my favorite weeks of the year. All the devotions were really great. I didn't get to hear Chase and Michael's, so I don't know if it was good. I assume, but anyway. So the devotion that stuck with me the most was probably my dad's. He talked about how your worth is in God, and you shouldn't put your worth in material things. And that's something I know that I've caught myself doing a lot. So it was nice to hear that and know that I need to talk to the Lord and I need to put my worth in Him instead of earthly things. What else? Well, there were 14 girls to one bathroom, so you can imagine how that went. But it was so fun. I enjoyed it so much, and it was actually really weird. I was one of the older ones this year, which is definitely different. I've been going on this trip for 7 years, so I feel old. But anyways, thank you, church, for letting us go.
Okay, so it was my 8th year going this year, and I think we play Dirty Santa every year. And if y'all don't know, we all bring a gift, and you draw a number, and whatever number you get is like the order. You go pick out a random gift. I got socks with Nathan's face on them. I don't think I'm ever going to get to top that, so... But yeah, every year I enjoy the games we play, the memories we make, and really the devotions. Like Liz said, Jason's was about your worth, how you find it in God and not worldly things and not worldly standards, and that really stuck with me. Allie and Kendall did an amazing job with the girls. They talked, one point was like God's mercy should not be used as an excuse for your habitual sin, which I thought was really good. And we started talking, and it led to some of the girls sharing about their experiences with churches in the past with their youth group, and it just made me realize how really blessed we are to be in a church who invests in their youth so much, not just their money, but their time and their love and their support. So thank you, church, for that.
Well, I just wanted to thank the church for letting me go. This is my 10th year, I think, getting to go. I didn't get to stay the whole time, which really was awful. I only got to go up for the first day, but I really enjoyed the first day. What else was I going to say? Honestly, don't remember. But yeah, thank y'all, and thank y'all too for letting me be able to go like out of high school, because I think that was the initial like stipulations for getting to go, but they've let older people come back, and that's really awesome because I look forward to it every year. So yeah, thank y'all.
Hello, my name is Mariah Thomas, and I've never been on this trip before. For a first impression, I'd say that I was not expecting 14 girls to share a bathroom. But I really appreciated the devotions, and, you know, they didn't mean to do it, but they actually put 2 devotions back to back on separate nights that were similar to each other. So it flowed really well, and it made us think about things from the previous nights, which is really good. Jason touched on how you shouldn't be putting, as she said, things on this earth above what actually matters. And you should put only God can define your worth. And he actually has only touched on that once before that I've heard, and that was in Awana's. And it was a blessing to me then, and it was a blessing to me now. And I remembered it since then, and I'm probably going to remember it even more now because we studied more in depth on it. And it was really helpful. And I just want to say, by supporting us, you're also supporting people that we come in contact with during school and the people around us, because the more we know and the more that we get, the more opportunities we're allowed to experience things like this, the more we can share with other people and go, hey, well, this is happening to you. I actually know a person that can help you, so thank you very much.
So this is my 3rd year going, and last year we didn't get to go anywhere because of COVID, and that made me really sad. But even as my 2nd year getting to go like out places, we went to go-karts and we went to Nerf gun place. It was all just really fun. And the devotion that definitely stuck with me the most was my dad's, because I definitely do find myself putting earthly things above God, which I shouldn't do, and like it just really helped me. And back to Kaylee's socks, because this is like the funniest thing ever. Justin got socks with John's face on them, and they're so funny. But anyway, everything was really fun, and what was I gonna say? I had like this whole thing planned out. But I just want to thank the church for investing so much in us, because this definitely is not a cheap trip. Like, we spend a lot of money on it, and it's just so much fun to go up there and hang out with everybody, and to just fellowship, and to get to play cornhole, and to think that we see a bear outside and then trip over each other, because that definitely happened. And it's just a really fun trip, so I just want to thank y'all for investing in us so much, and to loving us and letting us go. Thank you.
So this was my first time going, and I had a really good time, and I just want to thank the church for letting us go.
So this was also my first time coming on this trip, and I'm just gonna say here, I'm nervous about speaking to everyone here. I've never done a speech before in my entire life. The only thing closest to a speech is when I did a talent show when I was like 8 years old or something. And yes, I did sing a very, very awkward song, but anyway, The trip was really good, and we did the devotions, and, well, I did take some notes on them, and I thought that they were very important to us and all. And the favorite thing that I have about the trip is the go-karts. They were really fun. And I did crash into people every single time, but it's okay. I mean, we all make mistakes, right? But anyway, that was my experience on my first time going on the trip. Also, the cabin was like all the way up in the mountains, and I was the only one who was worried about mudslides besides my sister, Leah, who was worried about it being on stilts, which it was not. But anyway, that was the whole trip. Okay, bye.
Okay, half of the cabin was on stilts. It was a balcony. There's 2 levels. It was really, really fun. The devotions were amazing. The days that we spent there were amazing. It was a lot of sister time, which I was not expecting at all. We had to share a bed. We had to share a huge room. Actually, no, it was a small room. I don't know why I said huge. Maybe it was just a huge cabin. It felt big. Anyhow, no one also mentioned how at the gift, like, Dirty Santa thing, I keep calling it gift exchange, the Dirty Santa thing, 3 guys were fighting over, like, 3 separate Chick-fil-A cards on top of the socks. When the first time they brought out the face sock things, I was so confused. I was sitting on the other end of the room like, what is he laughing at as he's opening his gift? He shows it to everybody, and then all of us are in this cacophony of, that's amazing. But yeah, this was probably the most fun that I have a very long time. Just a little bit nervous talking about. But anyway, the go-karts, I didn't crash into anybody, but I was definitely last place. I was like on the very edge of the track, making sure not to hit anybody, being nice, following safety driving guidelines, and everyone else is just like, out of the way! I heard the crashes too. It was like from all the way across the like go-kart area. We were just sitting all over here, suddenly, like where you couldn't even see them. I just started. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks.
So this was also my first year coming here, and I had a lot of fun, but if there was one thing I've noticed no one has talked about so far, is when we had a plank competition, and it was really fun, though honestly I'm still sore from doing it, from holding a plank for like 2 minutes. But then when we did go-karts, Mariah rammed into me with her 2-seater go-kart, and it hurt. And then someone random rammed into me again, and it hurt even worse. So I would like to point that out. But like I had a lot of fun, and the devotions ran really smoothly, and it was just a lot of fun in general. And it was probably something that like I thought my parents would never let me do, which I want to thank them, by the way, for letting me go. But like, it was just something I never thought I'd get to do, and it was just something, like, just really fun in general, and the devotions were just, like, really, really well said and really well taught, like, all of them in general, like, not just a specific one, all of them were, and just, I had a lot of fun, mainly with the go-karts, and then when we shot the Nerf guns, because I hit Mariah in the neck. That was funny. Yeah, the round was over, and I got really excited, and I hit her in the neck. But, yeah, I just had a lot of fun, and I really didn't expect to have as much fun, but I had a lot of fun.
So this was my first year only being able to come part of the trip. So me and Justin came up the first night and ended up staying for the majority of the second day, which was go-kart day, which is always my favorite. So I was really happy about being there for that. And like Kendall said, this is a really good bonding experience. So I feel a lot more connected to these people now, and I'm really happy that I got to go. Thank you.
Since Allie kind of went ahead and threw it out there before I got up here to say anything, here are my socks. It's John's face floating in a purple space. I told him he needed to start selling at Elliot's Tire Center and see if he could get a little extra money, but I don't really know if he's going to go for that. But Liz says she felt old, and Brianna did the math, and I think this is my 13th or 14th year going, so I wish she could imagine how I feel. I've been going on this trip for so long. I didn't get to go last year. But like Renee said, I only got to go one day, but it's just a great trip to bond on. And, you talk to people that you usually wouldn't get to talk to, throughout the year because you're all just crammed in there together. So you really get close to everybody and kind of just get to talk and mingle with everybody. I was only there for one devotion, which was Jason's. I thought it was a great devotion. It's really something a lot of people struggle with is, finding their identity, and not only, people having issues finding their identity in not only material things, but also things that people can say about you and throw on to you. I know that's something I've struggled with in my past. And so I was, happy that he got to talk about that. And I think that's a good lesson for anybody, not just youth, but, as adults, that also happens. We can find our identity in several different things, the things people say about us at work and different things like that. But it was just a great trip. I did get the best dirty Santa gift I've ever gotten. And so I really don't know if there can be a gift that can top this. We'll see next year if it's possible. But I think John's face in space is pretty much the best gift you can get. So, yeah, thank you, church.
I just want to thank the church for letting us go on this trip, and if Liz is feeling super old, then I probably need to retire. And so, like I said, thank you guys for letting us go on this trip. It really means a lot to all of us, and I've been going for a couple of years now out of high school, but this is the first year that I really felt old, like a chaperone, because I had to share a room with Casey and LaRonda, so that definitely made me feel super old. So, yeah, definitely an adult now. Not sure how I feel about that. But I think back all the years that I've been coming on this trip, and it's really cool to see how the culture of the youth group changes from year to year. And thinking back to Nathan's devotion, he talked about the importance of community, and thinking back to my time in middle school and high school, the youth group was just so instrumental in how my walk with God developed over the years. And I hope that these kids can say the same thing for their selves as well. And like I said, too, I think about all of the people who were the older kids and when I was little, and how many of them are either out of church or, I don't know where they are. So every year I think about them and pray for them and hope that they're doing well. So I want to ask you guys too, just to remember all of the kids and adults now in their 20s and 30s who I just hope are following the Lord, and I think about them a lot. So thank you.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying what everybody else has said, and thank you guys for letting us go. I'd called Dad a couple weeks ago, and I told him, I said, Dad, I don't think I'm going to go this year. I said, I don't want anybody in the church to ever think I'm just going, to go on a free trip. You get to go to Gatlinburg, well, let's just keep going, right? Because that's not why I go, and I know that's not why any of the older people that go either. This trip meant a ton to me growing up. I loved every year that I went. Whenever we got back from the trip, I was looking forward to it at that point till the next time we got to go. And it meant a lot to me, and I've seen a lot of people's lives that it affected, a lot of young people that don't come here anymore that I still talk to every once in a while. They still talk about memories on this trip from years back, what it's meant to them, and how it's kind of changed their lives. And so I go, and I know a lot of the older ones that go to continue to try to make that happen for the next generation. And that comes in the form of helping out, like John talked about, cooking for 30, 40 people is a lot. So I was flipping sausage patties left and right, looked like Patrick off of SpongeBob.
But it's a ton of fun, and I try to kind of match the kids' intensity level. And that's why, my goal this year was, and if you know me, I like to get my 8 hours of sleep. I'm not really a late nighter. You don't look this good if you don't get 8 hours of sleep. So staying up to 3 and 4 in the morning and then getting back up before everybody else does to start making the breakfast means you're getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And so I tried as hard as I could to match their intensity and have a good time to pretty much just let them know. And I think that's what the majority of the trip is trying to let the young people that go know we love you, you have value, you're special, life can be fun, as a follower of Christ, and we are a family. But most importantly, that the Lord loves you. And I hope that they see that through the way that we act and through the things that we do on the trip. So I say that to tell the church thank you, because I know it's not cheap. I know it's expensive. You guys are the ones that help pay for it. And every one of you earn your money. And the fact that you're willing to give that money to this means a lot. And that's not lost on anybody up here, and it's definitely not lost on me, that your willingness to continue to do that. Even in a world where prices are going up, things are more expensive, it costs more for you to buy your own food, but you're willing to send this group on this trip. So I thank you for that. The devotions were really good this year. I'd like to thank Michael and Chase. They done our last night's devotion, which was just guys. And we kind of give Michael and Chase a hard time, kind of romp on them and call them dumb and things, and just give them a hard time as young guys because they act goofy. But they were prepared. They had spent some time putting together this lesson. It opened up a discussion of people getting to kind of pour out their heart and get to talk about the Lord and really encourage one another as guys and as young men. So I want to thank them for that. The trip's always fun. It's always high intensity. I wish Taylor was here. He's probably the most intense person that is there. To describe it, there was like 6 guys in one room. Just like shoved in there like sardines, and there's an open mattress, or there's an open couch like 6 feet away that's outside the door. But because everybody wants to hang out and be together, just acting ignorant the whole night, it's there empty. And there's like 4 or 5 guys sleeping on like a pull-out mattress. That's like the most uncomfortable thing you've ever been on. So that kind of describes it a little bit, is everybody just wants to spend time together and have a good time. There was a planking competition. I can definitely say I'm getting older, because the next day I couldn't hardly even move my jaw, my neck, my hands were like cramped up. I coughed and about cried. The planking is like a medieval torture device, I think, kind of masquerade as an ab workout. And these guys talked me into trying to plank until I just pretty much couldn't go no more. Michael got paid $10 to plank. I didn't get paid squat. So shows you how smart I am. But anyhow, it's a super fun trip. Thank you guys for letting us go. I hope that everybody up here knows that the Lord loves them. We love them, and this church loves them. So thank you.
Thank you, church, for letting us go on our trip. We was excited about getting to go this year. Like John said, last year was the first time that we didn't get to go, and it is a blessing to get to go, and we look forward to it just as much as they do. We just start counting down the days to get to go. For I forget, because I am old. They think that they are old, but Charlie planked for 9 minutes and 7 seconds. So if you know what... Charlie, come here a minute. Come here a minute. Okay, right over here. As you don't... Some people might not know what a plank is. So this is a plank. And you got to stay like that, and then... They, yeah. Show them what 9 minutes is. But anyway, we did have a great time. I guess one of the things this year, through the devotions and through just being around our kids is, I just want to be a better soul winner, a better witness, a better leader, spend more time with our kids. They have so much to offer. We learn so much from them. We did have new ones this year. Mariah is not quite. She loves to talk, and I think it's great. I learned a lot from her. I didn't know that she was a talker. Katie is a talker. They was really good about helping, leading with our devotions and help, carrying on a conversation and getting discussions started. And then Chase and Michael, I know that they was excited. Kendall and Allie done a great job in their devotions. They was prepared. Chase and Michael, even though we didn't get to hear theirs because we split up with girls and guys, but they was excited. We was playing cornhole, and they had their phones out, and everything was typed out, and they was prepared and excited about that. And but just pray for our youth and for the ones that thinks that they're old now, because they just don't know what old is yet. But me and John was the oldest, so we sort of got a room that was on the main level, so that John didn't have to climb up and down stairs or whatever. And so, but we did hang pretty good with them. We stayed up late with them, and we played games and done all that. But then we must have slept a little bit late because we get up and breakfast was halfway done. And so, but we did have a great time. And just pray for our young people and for our leaders, and pray for our church, and that we can just grow and encourage them and be what we need to be for them. Thank y'all.
Well, this is just my third year getting to go, and I never could understand why, when Jason and the kids came home, why they slept for days and couldn't get over it. I was like, what is your deal? Well, now I know, because it will wear you out. But I thought that LaRonda and I must be pretty cool because we got to room with Brianna, but apparently, she's old. So, but anyway, that was a lot of fun that we got to do that. And then it's like they said, there were 14 girls and one bathroom, and some shared ours, and that got a little crazy. And so anyway, we won't go into that. But I love, my favorite part about it is seeing these older kids come, like Charlie and Brianna and Renee and Justin, and Michael didn't get to come this year, but I love to see those older ones that they still want to come. And Taylor's just hilarious anyway, but it is so nice seeing them that they want to come, that they could be doing anything else, but they want to come. And they're not just sitting around. They are helping. They're engaged with the kids. They're enjoying everything. And I do have to tell one on Charlie and Brianna, it's nice to be able to ask them to help out. So last year when, everything was shut down, Brianna and I went to the store to get a few things. So we went to get coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I didn't know. I said, Brianna, get the coffee. So she gets the coffee. We get back to the cabin, and she bought whole bean coffee instead of grounds. So Jason and Michael took care of that so that we could, drink the coffee. Well, not me, but anyway. So Charlie aggravated her about buying the whole bean coffee. Well, this year we sent Charlie to get toilet paper and paper towels because the washer wasn't working great, and we're like, we could use paper towels instead. Well, Charlie comes back with 3 gigantic packages of toilet paper. We were like, where are the paper towels? He was like, I got paper towels. No? So I guess we're going to be wiping our mouths on toilet paper. But, anyway, whoever saw Charlie in Walmart thought that he had somebody with stomach virus because he had 6 blankets, 3 packages of toilet paper, and bread. So I'm sure they thought, man, this man is doctoring somebody. But anyway, it is hilarious. There is never a dull moment, and I appreciate it. And it's like I've said before, I thank you, church, for paying for it, because with 3 kids, I'm telling you, right at Christmas time, there's no way I would be able to say, yeah, I can spend, I can give you each $150 to go on this trip or whatever. There's no way I couldn't be able to do it. So it's a blessing that they're able to go and the church pays for it and the kids have a good time. It's a bonding experience for the kids and the adults. I mean, just to sit around and listen to them talk and, I can't hang with them. I slip off to my room and go to bed. But one night, LaRonda and I did hang until like 3:30, laughing and giggling in our room. But with Brianna, but I guess we're old. So anyway, but thank you.
So I'm glad Casey told that, because I was going to make sure that it was well known that even though Brianna went and stayed with them and she thinks she's old and everything, Nathan and I were sitting out there with the remainder of the kids at 3:15 in the morning, and all of a sudden we hear them all cackling in the bedroom, and they were all getting on to us. Hey, we everybody needs to go to bed because we want to go to sleep, and they're in there. I thought that's just not right. So we make sure we get that truth out of there. Another observation that I will say is that we might want to really think about a Philippi Baptist driving school, because we got some serious issues on the go-kart track. There's some serious problems. So we might really want to think about that, Darrell. I'll let you and Mike and the deacons discuss that. That may be something that's beneficial for, if nothing else, getting them safely out of the parking lot. But this trip is always an absolute, just wonderful trip. I know so many churches that everybody has to pay their way, and I know it's been said multiple times. There's a lot of churches that, hey, the youth has to have bake sales and those kind of things to be able to build up funds, and if they get enough, they get a trip, and if they don't get enough, they don't get a trip. But that's never been the case here, and the church has always just paid for it, sent anybody that wanted to go can go, and when you see what they do up there, and when you see them growing closer together, and you watch them as they open up some in the devotions and share things that they normally would not share, you understand the benefit of what you're gaining from sending them on this trip. It's not just one big bundle of fun, even though it's a bundle of fun. It's a lot of fun, but that's not just everything. And Mariah put her fingers all over it. What we don't see is the potential impact that this will have through the years of these people going out into school and into the workforce and being able to share things that they heard, or shared things that they learned, or shared experiences that they had with the youth group on these trips, and that's invaluable. God said there's such a blessing in just sharing a cup of cold water with somebody in His name. Well, think about what blessings we get from sharing this trip with this group of people. It's innumerable. The amount of blessings that come out of that cannot be numbered. And so I just want to impress upon the church to always consider this to be a priority. It is something that is desperately needed. Everything that they experience in life out there in school and out there in the community wants to tear them down, wants to beat them up, wants to rip them apart from each other, and just inject their lives with a bunch of junk. Sam had to leave after the first night because he's marching with the Pride of the Southland band, and so he had to go to the bowl game. But he called me the other 2 nights of the trip, and first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, what y'all do today? Hey, how's the devotions? What are you doing right now?" And I was thinking, here you are on a trip with a band on a bowl trip, and you're calling me, but he tells me, both nights, well, we all came back to the hotel, and we all, went to somebody's room and just sitting around talking or playing games or whatever, and then next thing you know, somebody says something inappropriate and things go downhill from there. And then the last night, somebody started drinking, and so both nights he was like, "All right, I'll see you guys later. I'm going back to my hotel room." And over and over and over again, I've heard him say multiple times, I'd have much rather been with the youth group than where I was. That's the kind of impact that you get from this kind of trip, because he talks about this trip all year long. And I'm so glad that John and Mousy got to go. We missed them last year, and the kids really missed John and Mousy being there. They love it. They love everything John and Mousy are involved in. They just absolutely love it. They eat it up. And for them to be able to be back with us this year was such a blessing. And so I highly encourage you, church, to always make this a priority, because while everybody else that they're facing and everything else that they're facing is trying to rip them apart, tear them down, beat them up, this trip is building them up and encouraging them and strengthening them and injecting Christ into them, because that's everything they do on this trip is built around doing things right and living right and just displaying a Christ-like attitude in everything that we do. And so it's just something that we desperately need to continue to do going forward. But I thank you again for sending us. There's not one dime of it wasted. I'll be honest with you. I said this last year. I said it the year before. I'll say it again. I don't care how much it costs. It's worth every penny. It's worth every penny. And what you see, what you hear, and what you watch experience with this youth group every year that they go, it's worth every penny. So thank you, church. We really appreciate it.
Well, I forgot my notes. You'll understand why when I tell you. I'm probably the smartest one because I go to bed on time because I can't remember anything. When I stay up that late, I can't think. So that's why I can't remember my notes. I had 3 points. See, 3 points. And I forgot them already. But I'd like to thank y'all for letting us go. We have a wonderful time. Didn't think I was going to get to go this year because I didn't think I was going to get off work, but it allowed me to come up a little late and leave a little early, which worked out good. Thankful for all the ones that went, the ones that's not here, and the ones that didn't come up here that did come. We're thankful for everybody that did go. And the devotions were amazing. They really made you think. Jason handed out a little piece of paper, and we had to really think on that. Then Nathan done the same thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like school. But that's the things you remember. So can't remember exactly what it was, the points, because I'll mess it up, but you had to write a positive or a negative or something like that. And that was hard for me because I really couldn't come up with a positive about myself, but I could come up with plenty of negatives. So you have to really think on that and search. And I did lose my points, so I can't remember what I was going to say. But I do thank y'all for letting us go, and we love this church, and we love all y'all.
I'll give you a positive. You're the hardest working woman I've ever seen in my life. And you love people. But this is an awesome trip. I know y'all have heard that. And I don't even know what John and Mousy, I think it was a Christmas gift for your Sunday school class, wasn't it? Started it? It was just a Christmas gift. They was going to take their Sunday school class up overnight. And 26 years later, I sat back there thinking a minute ago, the young people that went on that first trip probably have kids old enough to go on this trip now. It's amazing. There for a long time, we got to a point where we told them once they graduated high school, they could go 1 year, that next year after they graduated in May, and then you couldn't go back. And I'll just be honest with you, because some of them at that time were more of a hindrance to the young ones than a help. Yeah, I hate to say that, but that they were coming, and the young ones were seeing some bad habits and some things that is not desirable in a youth group, and so we had to kind of put us, but then it got to a point where we saw some young people start coming through there that truly had a love for the Lord, and I'm not saying those other ones didn't, but these didn't care to vocalize it. They didn't care to share about it. They didn't care to cry and get in front of people and in front of their peers. And so I've seen something, and they've done it for 26 years. I guess I may have went for 23 or 21 of those years maybe. I can't think. I think the first year I went was the first year that Zach went, 2002. And the only reason I remember that is because he tried to jump an end table, and he had a big old huge knot on his ankle, and I thought, these people's only been here about 2 months. They're going to sue us. But they thank y'all that y'all didn't sue the church. But we didn't know them that well. They just started in October, and this was just a couple months. But so probably about 20, 21, 22 years that I've been doing it. But I've seen a change in the youth. And now what I want to do is I want to see what some of these young adults, they're not afraid to live for the Lord. I want my 6th graders and 7th graders and 8th graders, I want them to see that. I want them to be around that. I mean, we can, they've all talked about being old. There ain't one of them old, except for John Mousy and myself and Jason. But I can stand up and tell young people all day long, you need to live for the Lord. You can have a blessed life. You can enjoy your life. And they all say, they pay you to say that. You're an old man. But when you get somebody that's 22, that's just got done with college, and they can stand there and say, I went to a major university, and I didn't have to go out drinking. I didn't have to go out partying. I enjoyed myself. I still, my testimony's still intact. I still enjoy life. And they show these young people how to have a good time in the Lord. It's amazing, because they're not getting that out there in the world. The world's not telling them that you can have a good time and still be righteous and still be holy, but it's possible. You can do that. And so, if we ever start getting a group that's showing undesirable traits, we'll shut it off again. But some of the young ones that continue to come back, I want them discipling. I want them to understand they have an impact, because one of these days we're going to need teachers in Sunday school. We're going to need teachers in VBS. We're going to need teachers in all other areas of this church. And they need to understand that's them. They're the ones that's got to stand up. Nobody else is going to do it. And I know Caitlin and Dakota's back there. They didn't come up to talk tonight, but they got to come up for about 24 hours. And it was good to see them and Logan. They hadn't been up in a couple years, and it was awesome to have them back up there and just get to spend some time with them. I know we had Ainsley Oliver got to go. That was her first time getting to go, and she had a good time. She's very aggressive on the go-karts. She will slap you into a wall in a minute. But it's a great time. I know Kara said something about wrecking people. She forgot to tell you where she wrecked them at. She wrecked them in the pits. After the race was over with, and the whistle's blown and the yellow light's flashing and everybody comes in the pits, she just comes in there hot, man, just bam. Just letting you know I'm back here. But no, that was awesome. But some of these young people, we got to know more about them in 4 days than what it would take 6 months of seeing them just for an hour or two here and there. Get to spend some time, play some games and stuff. And so it's a great trip. I'll tell you, I know they made mention of how hard it is to start finding a cabin that, $12,000 for 4 days is ignorant. That's just ridiculous, but they don't even bat an eye when they tell you that price either, because there's somebody coming around the corner that's going to pay it probably. But this cabin that we got this year, we've already looked for next year, and it's already booked. and it took us a long time to find this cabin. And so I'm going to talk to Daryl after this is over with. I already found another cabin that I want to talk to him about, because it's getting to the point where, you know, it's just crazy. I don't know where people's getting their money, but I'll never pay $12,000 for a cabin. But anyhow, well, that's what that might be what we talk about here in a minute. If we had our own cabin, we could rent it out through the year, and there you go. So, oh mercy. But I do want to I want to thank the young people for going. I want to thank the parents. We had some parents that doesn't know us that well. They're new to our church, and I want to thank you guys for trusting us with your kids. It's a big deal to let people take your kids off for 4 days, and we treat them like they're our own. We watch after them. Like John said, we're almost positive we always have them on the van before we leave out. But it's just a great time, and so I just pray, church. I want to thank you for praying for us, for our safety, praying for our devotions. They were excellent, and now let's just pray that there's fruit that comes from this trip that can be seen for the rest of this year and continuing years. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. But thank you guys, every one of you, y'all back there, and those few that wasn't able to make it tonight. I think that's it. Is that it, John? So one thing I'd like to do, we got 5 minutes till we're late. I'd like to get the young people and these young people back here to come up, and any of the other kids that are here. If you're in college, if you're heading back to school here in a couple days or in a couple weeks, whether it's college or whatever, if you're heading back to school, I want you to come up here. We're going to gather around y'all, and we're going to end in an altar of prayer, praying over our young people. Go ahead and get up. I can't talk forever. 5 minutes, we're late. But they head back to school here in just a few days, a few of them in a few weeks. It's a war zone where they're going. Satan is trying to get to them. Satan is trying to get them off track, to get them to doubt what they believe, what we're trying to teach them here. And we need to band together with these young people in prayer and let them know that we love them and we're thinking about them. So if you would, if you can, just come down. Let's just gather around them. I know we can't get super close with the COVID going on, but let's just get around them and let them know that we're praying for them as they head back to school, and that we love them. Thank you, church. Brother Mike, will you lead us in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, God, I just want to thank you, Lord, for your blessing. God, I want to thank you for our young people and giving us the chance, dear Lord, to be able to go and spend time with them, God. And I pray now, God, as they go back to school, God, back to those classrooms, God. And God, we know Satan's going to be pulling them. Satan's going to be trying to tempt them, trying to get them to act a certain way, to say things in a certain way, God, to try to get them to walk away from their morals, from their integrity, God. God, to follow after Him and what's popular and what seems fun, God. God, would you put a hedge of protection around them? God, would you spiritually just be able to set down upon them, and God, let them know, God, that there's a church and a God that loves them, that there's parents and grandparents looking out for them. God, I pray, Lord, that you just continue to grow them in our church. God, I pray, Lord, that they find somewhere to serve. God, I pray for the younger adults, God, the ones that are now role models, the ones that are now teachers and leaders, God. Would you show them the importance of what they are, the importance they are to these young people, and how they are directly affecting the lives